We've got Drex's Unused Baldo says Nick had absolute certainty that he would get his kids back on the I think it's official chance. I think it says off chance that the government tried to be stupid. He had Killdozer blueprints and welding for dummies in his Amazon cart. The one of the biggest things about getting our kids back was you have a couple ways to go when the government takes your kids. You have a couple options. And the option that we chose immediately was full on fight. No punches pulled. Fight. Our appointed counsel, both mine and Kayla's, we had for the first two hearings. They're some of the worst attorneys I've ever seen. Completely unethical, unknowledgeable, and their advice was criminally bad. I hope both of them catch on fire every single day. They deserve it. The worst part is that in this county, every single appointed case goes to one of those two people. In this county, there's a bunch of people who don't speak English and who don't know the law. And to know that those two fucking demons, completely complicit with the state, are giving legal advice around people's children to people who don't know that there's an alternative, who don't know the answer, is crazy. It's crazy. Those two monsters will burn in hell. I am comfortable with that. They are nasty. Everything they did was to acquiesce to whatever the government wanted. They had no plans to get our kids back to us. Everything that they said in court and all the advice they gave us personally was engineered to delay our kids being returned and expose us criminally, because we had criminal case we had to fight against. Every single thing that they did worked towards favoring the government and exposing us to criminal liability. Josie says they work for the government and you expect them to work for you. I knew my attorney. I knew her from before. So I did expect her to work for me. It didn't take long. I mean, I told her about, I was like, we need to get rule of completeness. We need to object to these things on the rule of completeness. They are not sufficient on their own. They're out of context, etc. And she said to me, she looked me in the eyes and said, what's the rule of completeness? It's a fucking rule of evidence in every state and the model ABA rules. And I was like, what do you mean, what's the rule of completeness? It's the rule of completeness. And she had no clue what it was. That person represents people when the government has their children, and that's terrifying to me. Firing her was one of the best feelings on the planet. Firing Lady Rackets' shitty lawyer was even better. That guy was trying to get her to turn on me. Was talking to her about like divorcing me and stuff like that. Huh. Ha! He obviously didn't know the score at all. And that's just how they were. They were nasty people. I hope that guy's balls get pulled off by someone angry with pliers. He is horrible. What a fucking loser. Anyway. Yeah. The the whole reason that I had a hair follicle test, like that existed, was because of them. Because their advice to us was that we needed to take this hair follicle test. And I started thinking about it. And I was like, why the fuck would we do this? We had already taken the hair follicle test, but our results had not come back. I said, why are we giving a hair follicle test to the government? Like, why is that a thing? This is what they advised us to do, was to just take, consent to whatever the government asked for with nothing in return. It's not like it was, we would consent, and they would give us access to our kids or accelerate the calendar or anything. They did that. So I talked to Lady Raggets and I was like, these people they're screwing us. They're screwing us right now. And we need to revoke our consent. Some people are curious, like, as to why, because I think that was there, like it was in one of the orders or something that I revoked consent for my hair follicle test. Yeah. You know who never got to use that test against me? The state never got to use it against me. And oh man, the lead investigator, that bitch, she was so angry. I got in discovery all of her fucking whiny emails trying to illegally obtain those test results from the testing facility. She tried to illegally obtain them. Have the emails. Can't you give them to me? He's like, no. He revoked consent. She's like, but, we already ordered the tests and we had consent for the tests ordered. And he's like, he emailed her back. He's like, yeah, but he revoked consent before the results came in. So I can't send them to you. Revoking consent to them was used against us because of course it was. But they were never able to use the hair follicle test to prove that we had ever done drugs or how much. Ever. They were so fucking mad about that. They were so angry. That was one of the best decisions we made. The other part that happened around that hair follicle test is the county could not get access to it, right? The guardian ad litem, however, could, because they have different rules. The guardian ad litem got access to that test. And then the guardian ad litem in Minnesota illegally disclosed the results of that test to the county social workers and to people who were not party to the lawsuit and not government employees. That bitch was supposed to be working for the best interest of my children. We addressed this with her, as in, I said, you illegally disclosed the results of the test. And I know she did because they wrote it down in their meeting minutes that she verbally gave the numbers to them, but she couldn't give them the paper. And she said, no, I know how this works. I can't do it in writing as long as it's not in writing. And I said, no. And then my lawyer stopped me because I was about to kill her. She is awful. She is awful. What was her name? Christy something. Anyways, she's about 400 pounds too. Holy shit. Oh, I hate these people. You have no idea. But that was kind of funny. In hindsight, it's kind of funny because the county knew the test results from my hair follicle test, but they couldn't use them because they weren't supposed to have them in the first place. I revoked consent. But that guardian ad litem illegally disclosed
in the
those
chat.
numbers.
We will be in touch. No matter what happened, you helped save Vic's life and reveal the truth against fat bitches like Jamie. I want his balls. Marchie, respect, baby. Go peen.
Exactly. We had some fun moments on that. But yeah, so she had unlawfully disclosed it, and she was fine with it. She was fine saying it. And I can prove that she did it because it's in the meeting minutes. And also, I'm on good terms with the other person that she disclosed those results to. Those results are supposed to be confidential and private. This is what we were fighting against. People don't quite understand the system around the family court and what you have to do. But that test should have never existed. I wasn't thinking clearly. My kids had been taken away. I had been arrested. None of this had happened before. And they told us at the beginning that our kids would be returned within 10 days. And then all of a sudden, they're like, maybe in 6 months. And we're like, what? And they're like, they told us we couldn't go to our church. That's right. We couldn't go to our church because our kids would be there. So they were really happy to violate our First Amendment rights as well. The entire thing was completely corrupt. And all of them have a reckoning, not with me. They have a reckoning for what they've done to families. But we were relentless. We made it very clear that we would cooperate with anything the court ordered, 100%. And we would work with the county to the level that we could while protecting our rights. Because they just want you to talk, and then they can take your statements and then bring them to the criminal court, and they hold your kids against you as a poker chip in your criminal case. They want to, for you to get your kids back, you got to say this and this and this. Well, those admissions then go straight to the detective. We didn't fuck around with that at all. We got immunity agreements signed before they got anything. But it was, a scary road, because what they do is they just threaten to take your kids away and hold them longer when you fight back. But we knew we were in the right. We knew that we never harmed our kids. We knew our kids wanted to come home. And that was the problem that they had to deal with too. So every time they talked to our kids, they just wanted to go home. And they would never say the thing that they wanted them to say. Because none of that was happening. They wanted there to be some sort of like big admission from one of the kids or whatever, but there just wasn't. But they're evil, evil people. Never, ever underestimate the evil of a government employee who can take away your liberty or take away your family. Cup of Sooth says no one should ever have to apologize for a cocaine-fueled three-way. You know what? I agree 100%. Why on earth? I grew up in the 80s. I will not apologize. Go listen to every song, just all of them. Digital Boone says, I think Nick is just